I don't even know where to start. JTS just end the season. Our New York Jets. By the way, I knew this was going to be an ugly game going into it, but never in my wildest dreams did I predict it to end by a score of 40-14 and Tyrod Taylor to throw both of the New York Jets touchdowns in garbage time. Just an absolute brutal performance. We'll break it down all here and much more on a post-game edition of NY Flight Jets Talk.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
Hello everyone, and welcome into another post-game edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. Here we are, Sunday, December 29th, JTS just end the season. Our New York Jets fall to 4-12 on the season after suffering what might have been the most lopsided loss I've ever seen as a fan of this team. I mean, you simply can't make it up. What an absolute brutal performance we saw up in Orchard Park, New York, that ended just minutes ago. I mean, absolutely brutal. And it was the same story with this team. I guess where I'm going to start really is the opening possessions of the game, what we saw with the offense. And it's what we've seen in the past few weeks. The offense has been moving the football down the field. They've done that really to no struggle, especially these past 2 weeks. But they simply can't finish, and that's what we saw at the start of the game, the first two possessions. Obviously, first drive, marching down the field in opposing territory. The offense was humming. We were moving the football, and then boom, you have that miscommunication between Rodgers and Yeboah, and then you go for it on fourth down and you can't convert 1 yard. Boom, that's a turnover and downs already. You're already losing that game 7-0 because the Bills scored a touchdown obviously on their first possession because the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed all freaking day. An absolute mess. And then you move on to the second possession of the game. It's the same story. You're moving the ball down the field, and then boom, Rodgers throws, a lob really. Boom, gets tipped at the line. Defensive lineman picked off. Offense was moving the ball down the field early, and one mistake. They can't finish. The offensive line was awful today. Jets had a safety. Rodgers got sacked in the back of the end zone. It was brutal. I mean, Max Mitchell, this guy might be one of the worst tackles the Jets have ever trotted out on the field. Seriously. And I know he got hurt. It was an absolute mess. That safety, boom. Mitchell didn't even have it. No one accounted for that extra rusher. No one did. No one accounted for Epinesa, which led to Rodgers getting sacked in the end zone. Rodgers also almost got killed by Matt Milano. Almost got killed by Matt Milano. And then on the next play, they throw an RPO bubble to Garrett Wilson, and the ball pops out of his hands. And Rodgers could have easily recovered that football, except he just gets lazy and doesn't even attempt. And they ended up taking it back for a touchdown, but it got called back. The guy was down by contact at the 15-yard line. Just talk about overall a soft football team. A soft football team. That is what we saw today. And like I said, the same story with not being able to finish. It was the same freaking story with the penalties that we've seen all freaking season long. All season long. 15 penalties, 113 yards today. 15 penalties, let me get that right. Yep, 113 yards on the day. I think that might be the most penalty yards the Jets have allowed in a single game this season, and that is saying something because this season has been riddled with penalties every game, all game long. And, Rodgers did not have his best day overall. It clearly showed in the stats, one of his worst games of the season. It's 12 of 18, 112 yards, and 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But the offensive line certainly gave him no help whatsoever today. No help. Awful. Carter Warren, get to eventually come in for Morgan Moses. He didn't look great. John Simpson, who, don't get me wrong, has had a great year, and I think he should be in the Pro Bowl, had a few penalties. So, terrible. It's terrible. The defense, same story. Couldn't stop a nosebleed. Simply couldn't stop a nosebleed. Rushing attack, I mean, James Cook, 15 carries, 54 yards, touchdown. Josh Allen, 5 carries, 17 yards, and a touchdown. Ty Johnson, 4 carries, 16 yards. Ray Davis, 6 carries, 9 yards. Receiving game, the pass defense was terrible today. Tyrell Shevers, boom, just on a quick pass. 1 reception, 70 yards, and a touchdown. 70 yards and a touchdown on 1 reception. Just awful. Amari Cooper hit his 10,000 yards on his career today. The big game, 3 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Matt Collins, 2 catches, 33 yards. Keon Coleman, 3 catches, 27 yards, and a beautiful touchdown catch. Defense overall was awful. Terrible overall game if you really think about it. I mean, the Jets just got manhandled in every single aspect of today's game. They really did. Every single aspect, they got absolutely manhandled. There's no other way to put it. No other way to put it. Everyone, thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate all your support. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You want to call into the show, do so by clicking the pinned comment in the chat. We're going to continue breaking down the rest of today's pitiful performance. Throw your comments in the chat. We'll be sure to get to them. Get the memberships following. Every membership that you guys gift on today's show, I'll match it. I'll start it off. I'll drop 5 memberships in here for you guys sticking around. Appreciate all your support. So every membership that you guys gift, I will match it. So let's keep these memberships going, please. Help support the show tremendously, but smashing the like button does just as much. So if you can, please give memberships. I'll match every single one that you guys gift, and I appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. I dropped the 5 memberships in the chat. Memberships went to Jeffrey, Jimmy Jets, proud New York Jet fan, our guy Nick Shine, T. Rivera, and Phenom. Those the 5 memberships go to. Like I said, every membership that you guys gift, I will match it. So appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys sticking with us here on these post-game shows. I mean, I guess the main point I really wanted to get into before I get to all your questions, keep throwing those in the chat. I'll be sure to hit all of them. The main point I wanted to get into was Tyrod Taylor coming in at the end of the game. 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers did not throw a single touchdown. Tyrod Taylor comes in garbage time. It was 12 of 14 for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. I know, they put out their 3s and 4s for the Bills from a defensive standpoint, but hey, I thought he looked good. Thought he looked good overall. I mean, throwing 2 touchdowns, 83 yards, 12 of 14, compared to Rodgers, 12 of 18, 112 yards, 2 interceptions. I mean, I could tell you, Garrett was, Garrett was happy. He got a touchdown from Tyrod. Conklin, 8 catches, 57 yards. Tyrod worked him in a lot when he came into the game. Devontae Adams ended up getting injured at the end of the game. I want to see if there's any sort of update on him. 5 catches, 47 yards. Lazard, 1 catch, 9 yards. Isaiah Davis, 1 catch, 8 yards. Running game, Breece Hall, 10 carries, 46. Isaiah, 3 carries, 35. Braylon, 6 for 26. Tyrod, 2 carries, 6 yards. Also, big day for Garrett Wilson overall too. Now it's the 3rd consecutive season that he's hit 1,000 yards, and obviously this is only his 3rd season in the league. First Jet to do that. So big day for Garrett Wilson overall. Appreciate you all joining us. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Let's get to all your questions in the chat. Let's keep them flowing in. Like I said, every membership that you guys gift, I will match it. So let's start with your questions. Say what's up to everyone in the chat. Chris J, appreciate the support. Appreciate you joining the show. BC, good to see you in the chat. Appreciate all your support. Hep, appreciate you tuning in. Oscar, appreciate you tuning in. And it's another season, no playoffs. So, yep, that's my only hope now next year, really. Gotta always look. There's always next season. But yes, another season. I haven't seen a playoff game in my life. Absolutely insane. Guy Josh's sports report, tuning in. Oh boy, this is gonna be a long one. It sure is, Josh. Everyone be sure to check out his work. He does great stuff over at Josh's sports report. Be sure to check that out. see. Johnny Boy, who was co-hosting with me over here on the pregame show right before disaster struck. LOL. Well, I thought it would be close. I thought it would be close. Ha ha ha. Simply not the case, Johnny Boy. Simply not the case. Jay, good to see you. Absolutely brutal. BC Nets stomping the Magic. Yeah, I have the score going over here. 48-35. Nets lead. Let's see what the 4:53 to play in the second quarter. Big trade for the Nets today too, BC. I want to get your thoughts on that. I was a huge fan of it. See, Taylor, our O-line got punked. O-line was certainly terrible today. Awful. Certainly awful. Penalty City. Yeah, I have to. It was a joke today. Over 100 yards in penalties. I have to go back and look at the other games this season, but I think that might be the most penalty yards the Jets have allowed in a single game this season. Terrible, pitiful. Oscar, Bills were partying on their sideline, up 40 on us. Yeah, it was it was not great. I don't know if you guys saw it. They showed it on the TV broadcast though. At the end of the game, I want to see if a reporter asked Ulbrich about it. Brenton Eccles and MC2 were like fighting on the sideline, and Tony Adams was holding Eccles back, and Eccles was like crying. It's a really, really weird situation. That's the last thing this team needs. Locker room drama with only one game left in the season. Last thing this team needs. Taylor Max has got to go. Yeah, I think he's cut at the end of the season. I think you can actually save some money if you cut him pre-June 1. There's only one game left, so he's not going anywhere before next week, but he's gone once the season ends for sure. Benny, appreciate tuning in, and I could not agree with this comment anymore. Michael Clemens really might be the dumbest man in the NFL. I mean, a personal foul on him today for literally I think he just went up and jumped for no reason. Literally no reason particular. The play was well over, and his rivalry with Deion Dawkins. He absolutely hates Dawkins, but an absolute joke. He's terrible. He has to be cut too as well. Another awful game out of him with mental mistakes, which someone who's playing of his caliber this year, the last thing you could be doing is making mental mistakes and getting yourself in trouble, hurting your team with personal fouls. First, I never wanted Rodgers back, so I don't know. I think you might be being sarcastic there, especially after today's performance. But no, I never wanted Rodgers back, and I don't. I've been saying I want Tyrod to be the quarterback next year of this team for several weeks. He's under contract next season, and his money's guaranteed. 2 years, $18 million. He's getting $9 million next season. You might as well start him. I understand, Taylor, that he was going against backups here, but I still think he's the Jets' best option. 1,000%. I still think he's the Jets' best option next season over Rodgers. Unless Rodgers plays next week and he looks somewhat okay, and the new regime is willing to take a shot on him with a completely new restructured deal, he's not. I don't think he deserves to come back next season, quite frankly, from what he's put on tape. Let's see. I just addressed this. Let's see. Yeah, O-line has completely been depleted. Between Olu out, Tyron Smith, who's placed on IR, he'll never play a game as a Jet again. Morgan Moses ended up coming. Morgan Moses is a complete warrior. I want him back on a 1-year deal next season. But yeah, the O-line's been a complete mess this season. Blow it up, Jay. Couldn't have said it any better. BC, appreciate you. Let's see. Christopher stole the thought right from my mind. Tyrod looked like he had some juice for a guy who's been sitting on the bench all year. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. The only time he's appeared in the game this season was garbage time of week 1 in San Francisco. And I understand that he's going against 3s and 4s, but he looked elusive today. He was putting some nice moves when he was in the backfield. So I thought he looked elusive. Like you're still able to showcase elusiveness even if you're going against 3s and 4s. Like, I think he would be a fun option next season. I don't want him to be the only quarterback ahead of Jordan Travis on the depth chart. I still want to sign a Jameis Winston. Well, ideally, my plan at quarterback next season is either drafting someone if you get high enough, taking a flyer on a Cam or Shadur, or signing an Andy Dalton, a Jameis Winston, Jacoby Brissett is a free agent this offseason, and then have Tyrod and whoever the other veteran bridge option is battle it out during training camp for QB1. I think that's the Jets' best option really next season. Let's see. Christopher Cancel. Connor, do you think the Jets were too stupid to go for a 2-point conversion, rather go for an extra point? Game was over at that point. I said I said at the time I wanted them to go for a 2-point conversion, but it didn't really matter there. Wildwave, if I'm the Jets, I would bench Rodgers and not let him get his 500th touchdown. Yeah, I was saying that during the game today. I said, why not just send a message? Send a message to the locker room and say Tyrod was playing, his ass off earlier today, and you look at the way Rodgers played compared to the way Tyrod played. Send a message and start Tyrod next game. I wouldn't mind that at all. Let's see. I got proud New York Jet fan. Appreciate you, Connor. Thanks. Keep up the good work. Anytime, Nick. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate your support. Johnny Boy, is Greg Zuerlein still hurt? I mean, it sure does seem like it. He was just activated from IR, and we didn't see him today. We didn't really see him today, so pretty much seems like he's still hurt. NY Jets superfan. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll be picking top 3 next year. You heard it here first. Let's see. Let me pull up Tankathon for you guys really quickly. I know some of you were wondering about draft position. We'll pull up Tankathon, see if it's updated. Oh, we moved up. I'm not going to spoil where we are yet until I pull it up on the screen, but we did move up in the draft order. I'll say that. It's pretty much a given. All right, we are now 6th in the draft order. We are picking 6th behind New England, Tennessee, Giants, Cleveland, Jacksonville. There we are. 6th overall pick. You lose next week, you fall to 4-13. Could be an opportunity to pick in the top 3, top 4, like NY Jets superfan was saying. They have the Jets picking Abdul Carter right now with the 6th overall pick. Well, Tankathon, oh no, they have Shadur going to. I was like, where's Shadur? Shadur going to. Ideal, Mason Graham is probably my number 1 option right now for the Jets outside of the top 2 quarterbacks. So give me Mason Graham, give me Abdul Carter. Those are my top 2 guys. I really want the Jets to target if they're in position to select one of those elite defenders. Raiders and Giants did win, which helped the draft order. Let's see. Tommy Talk's coming in with a great question. Who do you want to see win it all this year? Who do you want to see win it all next year? That's a tough question. This year, excuse me. Probably the Lions. I think they're a fun team. I think they have a lot of young players, and they've been through a ton of suffering, just like the Jets have. So I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions here. That's who I want to win the Super Bowl. That's right. Great question. Our guy Chris J coming in with a super chat. Chris, really appreciate it. Next week is so crucial for our draft position. It 1000% is. It is a week 18 game, especially if a team like the Patriots could win. I think the Patriots. Let me see who they're playing next week. I think they might be playing the Bills. Yeah, they're playing the Bills next week. Bills are going to be resting all their starters. If the Patriots trot May out, there's a chance they win. They have the number 1. I mean, I'm going to look at the analytics. I don't know if anything is for sure, but there can be a possibility just based on looking at the records and the teams ahead of us in the draft order. There is a possibility the Jets could somehow get the number 1 overall pick. I think there is some sort of way. I think there is. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 1000% sure, but I think there is some sort of chance, which is absolutely crazy to think. Absolutely crazy. Taylor, Tyrod is in our future. But it isn't like Tyrod is our future. You're referring to a question, a comment made by Wildwave about Rodgers. He's not our future, but who do you want to start at quarterback? Rodgers isn't our future either. Who do you want to start? I know you're a Rodgers guy, but other than Rodgers, who do you want to start? I don't think Rodgers is coming back right now, especially on his current deal. I don't even think it's a given that he's going to start next week in Miami. Tyrod isn't our future, but I think he's a serviceable stopgap bridge starter in this league. That's where I stand. And why just super fan, get rid of Rodgers, Lazard, Kinlaw, Reddick, Warren, CJ Mosley, DJ Reed, and all of our safeties. Yeah, I think they're gonna revamp the safety room for sure. Tony Adams is a free agent. Chuck Clark, Ashton Davis, they're all free agents. So I think they'll get rid of everyone there and completely completely revamp it. DJ Reed's free agent. He's not coming back. CJ Mosley's, I think his career's done. Carter Warren, they'll cut. Reddick's a free agent. Kinlaw's a free agent. Lazard will get cut, especially based on his current deal. His drop rate is even higher than last year, and he's getting paid $11 million a year, which is insane. And Rodgers, we're on the same page there. NY Jet Superfan, I 1000% agree. And we got another super chat from our guy coming in. Chris, really appreciate all your support. Pats, Jags, and Carolina will be ahead of us based on strength of schedule. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Appreciate the super chat. And then you said if everyone ends up 4-13, so we can't get the number one overall pick, but we could get close. That's for sure. Everyone, smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Appreciate you joining us. Keep the questions, comments, super chats coming. You want to call into the show? Do so by clicking the pinned comment in the chat. And Chris, two super chats there is that's $4. That is equal to 2 channel memberships. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'll drop 2 channel memberships in here. Every super chat / membership you guys gift will get matched. So here we go. 1 membership, and let's see. Membership went to NY Jet Superfan. NY Jet Superfan, welcome to the membership channel. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you tuning in. The second membership has just been gifted. So I appreciate all your support. Keep it going. We'll match every single membership that you guys gift and super chat. So appreciate all your support. Time to go over to the phone lines. We got our guy Charles Gorman joining us here on the show. Charles, how you doing?
Hey kiddo, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Yeah, today's my computer's a little banged up.
You're good.
Today was just an absolute embarrassment. I mean, people want to say get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy, and while I can understand some of the frustration, this team doesn't have a coach right now, and I understand, the coaches can't do everything, but they are responsible most of the time, in my opinion. But then again, so are the players. Aaron Rodgers played like crap today. We all know this. The offensive line didn't play well today. I hate it when we don't stick to the run that much. It would been really pissed me off with this team this season. But I had I don't want to sound like I'm a non-real Jets fan, but I had a feeling we were not going to beat Buffalo today. Buffalo was just playing with a chip on their shoulder. We want to go undefeated at home since our first Super Bowl trip back in 1990. But I mean, this team has been an embarrassment all season. I mean, from the coaching perspective, some of our players aren't really playing up to their standards. It's been really bad this year. And I was just talking about this on Discord. The Giants came into their game against the Colts being dead last in every single offensive category, and they put up 45 points.
Yeah, and Drew Lock threw for well over 300 yards as well.
4 touchdowns, including a rushing touchdown. The last Giant quarterback to do that was the legend himself, Eli Manning.
Wow. Yeah, it was a big game for the Giants today, collecting a home win over the Colts, a team the Jets lost to 29-28 at home. So I thought the Giants overall.
Oh, it was 28-27, I think.
You might be right. Let me check that. Let's see. I think you might be right. New York Jets versus Colts. Yep, 28-27. That's on me. Yeah, they won 28-27 on November 17th. So a little.
And that was when Anthony Richardson threw the ball very well, surprisingly, and he struggled
and he ran all over them. Yeah, he ran all over them too as well. Charles, I appreciate the call. I just want to get your thoughts here. One more thing. Tyrod Taylor came in. He looked decent. Second, I've
always liked Tyrod. To me, he should be a bridge quarterback.
That's what I've been saying for weeks, Charles. Where do you stand? Do you want Rodgers back next season? Do you not? And what's your plan?
The fan of Aaron Rodgers in me wants him to stay, but it's like it's just not clicking in New York. It's just not clicking. And even if he does well somewhere else, you got to bite the bullet and move on. So I'm going to say keep Tyrod.
All right. So you want to keep Tyrod. All right, I like that. Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat, but I want another veteran. So I want Tyrod. And then I want to sign an Andy Dalton, a Jacoby Brissett, a Jameis Winston, someone in free agency, and have those two battle it out for the starting job. And then you have some sort of backup plan if one of them goes down. compared to relying on a guy like Jordan Travis, who's in for a full, he has one more week left, obviously, but a full redshirt season. That's where we stand right now. I think at the quarterback position, Rodgers cap hit, especially if you bring him back, and then you get rid of him after next season, you're gonna owe him $63 million compared to 49 if you just move on from him after this year. Now, don't get me wrong, 49 million is a lot of dead cap money, but it's a lot less than 64. So I'm getting out of this Rodgers deal as quick as you possibly can, and I think that's what you have to do here, Charles. But I really appreciate the call. You got any final thoughts?
No, that's all I'm gonna say right now. I plan on doing a video live stream around 6:30. So have a good day, my friend.
Thank you, Charles.
Keep up the
Appreciate the
good work.
call. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate it. Appreciate the call as always from our guy Charles. You want to call into the show? Do so by clicking the pinned comment in the chat. Submit your questions, comments, super chats, matching every super chat and membership. Appreciate all your support despite this pitiful season. Where were we here in the questions? Let's see. Guy Nick Shine. You don't have to base next year's decision off one game. It's been awful. Move on ASAP from Rodgers. Completely agree, Nick. I think we overreacted. If Rodgers doesn't have that Jacksonville game, if Rodgers doesn't have that crazy game against Jacksonville, which, again, you're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're supposed to dominate. But if he doesn't have a good game against Jacksonville, I think a lot of people are in the don't bring Rodgers back. I think that game really, persuaded a lot of Jet fans. Let's see. Wild Wave, this whole locker room is about to explode for sure. I think Olbrook's mentality right now is how could we just get through this one more week? There is one more week left in the season. How do we get through it? I think that's his message to the team right now. NY Jets superfan Tyrod was playing backups, playing prevent defense. Relax, everyone. He's 38 years old, brittle, and 5'10". I mean, he played better than Rodgers. I understand it was against 3s and 4s, but he still threw 2 touchdowns. Do you want Rodgers back next season? Oh no, you put him on your cut list. So who do you want to play quarterback for this team next season? I'm in that Tyrod. I want Tyrod or Justin Fields to play. They've proven they've been able to be a bridge quarterback throughout their careers. So I'm with Tyrod or Justin Fields for next season. Those are my top 2 options. Let's see. Taylor, I want Travis Hunter so bad. If you don't get to the number 1 overall pick, you're not getting Travis Hunter. Especially if the Patriots are picking one who don't need a quarterback. You're not getting Hunter. Let's see. Giants play Eagles. Eagles resting everyone. Pats playing Bills. Bills resting everyone. Titans playing Texans. Texans resting everyone. Yeah, I think there's potential that the Jets could possibly get up to the number 3 overall pick. As crazy as it sounds, I wouldn't rule it out. Would not rule it out. Which is crazy, coming off a season where there were Super Bowl expectations. Absolutely insane. Mother effing Chew, appreciate you tuning in. Carter Warren and Max Mitchell are terrible. Jets should pick another O. I think both are. I think Warren might stay for next season, but Mitchell will be cut. I can guarantee you. Mitchell will be cut. I think Warren will stay though as a depth piece for next season. Let's see. I could see getting rid of any of them, but my defense was about benching Aaron next week and stopping him from getting a record. That's not cool. Oh, you're talking about a comment from Wild Wave. My thing, which I mentioned and Wild Wave agreed with me, is just send a message. Tyrod played better today than Aaron Rodgers did, especially in the sample size that we saw from him. So send a message and start Tyrod Taylor next week. Tyrod's going to be on the roster no matter what next season. You might as well see what you can get out of him. Might as well see what you could get out of him as a potential bridge quarterback next season. Rather throwing Tyrod in. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, not rather throwing Tyrod in, rather throwing Rodgers in, excuse me. That's where I stand. Let's see. Our guy NY Jets superfan dropped a membership here. We'll give him a Jets chant. Jets. There we go. NY Jets superfan. Appreciate you gifting the membership. You say Merry Christmas, kid. NY Jets superfan. That means a lot. Appreciate all of your support. That membership went to AYR Zone S. Appreciate the membership. Thank NY Jets superfan in the chat. Appreciate it. That means we will have to drop a membership in here to match NY Jets superfan's very nice, kind donation. Appreciate all of your support. See, and we gifted another one. Mine went to Spin Max, NY Jet Superfans went to Bronx Jet fans. So he gifted another one, which I really appreciate, NY Jet Superfans. That means we have to match that again and gift another one. I appreciate all your support, and I appreciate everyone who's sticking with us. That's the paid way to support the channel. The free way to support the channel that also helps us significantly is just smashing the like button. Smashing the like button, it helps the channel grow significantly. NY Jet Superfan, I appreciated that membership that I gifted with the Taylor Sterling. Taylor, you are now officially a member of the channel, NY Jet Superfan. Like I said, really appreciate that. Let's see, where were we? NY Jet Superfan, you want Sanders to start next season. I think the Jets have to. You said they can get as high as, where did you say? They can get as high as 2. Yeah, that's what I said. You get as high as 2 in the order. If you get to 2 and New England's 1, New England's most likely going to take a Travis Hunter. And then you have the pick of Cam or Shedeur. I like Cam a little bit more than Shedeur, but if Shedeur falls to you, no matter if Shedeur's there and Cam isn't, I think you have to take Shedeur 1000%. I just don't want him to start next season. I don't. I don't want Shedeur. I don't want a rookie quarterback, whether it's Cam Ward, Shedeur, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers. I don't want a rookie quarterback to start for the Jets next season. I'm tired of throwing these guys into the fire right away. I'd rather them sit back for a season, learn from a Tyrod and Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, something like that, Jacoby Brissett, and then go in year 2. That's where I am. Mother effing true, there's no QB in this draft with a first round D tackles are so hit or miss. Hunter definitely, but he'll be gone. I don't know about there's no quarterbacks who are first round talents. I think Shedeur and Cam are both first round talents, but overall, I don't think the quarterback class is that great. That's what I will say. Taylor Mitchell is a bad guard. Why is he playing the most important position? Oh, well, Mitchell's natural position is actually tackle. He slid in his guard depth the past few years. They're out of bodies, simply. Tyron Smith is injured. Olu Fashanu went down with the injury. Morgan Moses is a freaking warrior. So they had no other option, really. Schweitzer's still banged up a little. No other option to put out there. Jersey Jet talking about Tyrod here. He played well. I'm feeling the he's trying to say he played well versus SF2. Should have let him play after the injury in London. That's my big gripe. Like the coaching staff has never had control over the locker room this season. If Mike Vrabel is the head coach of the Jets, Aaron Rodgers has probably missed 3 games this season, and Tyrod Taylor plays, and we don't know what the record is, for better or worse. That's simply what would have happened. Aaron Rodgers has been running this team all season. I don't think the coaching staff really has any control over the locker room. So unfortunate. Let's see, a few more questions here before we wrap. Johnny Boy, man, Aaron telling Olbrick it's time to put Tyrod in right. Wow, who's the coach and who's the player? That's what I said, Johnny Boy. You got to send a message. If you're Jeff Olbrick, 1 game left, send a message and put Tyrod Taylor out on the field. That's what you got to do. That's what I'm doing if I'm Jeff Olbrick. For sure, his last game as a head coach of this team. Why not send a message? He hasn't sent any messages all season long. He's really let Aaron Rodgers run the show. He's the head coach of this team. Send a message and start Tyrod Taylor, who earned the opportunity, I think, based on his performance today. That's where I stand. All the coaches are goners. NY Jets Superfan, I agree. I think you need every single person in this organization out here and completely start fresh. And I think that's what the new regime's going to want, for sure. Appreciate you all joining us. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're going to wrap up here shortly following a pitiful New York Jets loss, 40-14 to the division rival Buffalo Bills on the road. JTS just end the season. 1 more game left, and it's at home against the division rival Miami Dolphins. Although, you know how painful the season could be at times, you got to savor every single game. So we'll be doing coverage. Of course, this week I'll be on the pregame show. Next week with my guy Matt O'Leary, our last pregame show of the year, and then our last postgame show of the year. And then boom, it's head coach, GM, and off-season talk coming up. So I appreciate you all joining us. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I am your host, Connor Long, signing off. JTS Jets.